everyone, today's video is going to be a flip through of my 2020 December daily album, and I will put a little trigger warning in here now that there is a page in here about miscarriage and pregnancy loss, and I will talk about that in this video. So if that is a subject that is triggering for you, and I fully understand because it's a subject that is triggering for me at the moment, this video might not be for you, or you can just skip through when you see the page that I'm talking about, although I can't promise that it won't be mentioned in the rest of the video. I used Ali Edwards products this year for the first time, so this album is one of hers. I've just popped the dates into the book plate on the spine, and then I've left the inside blank at the moment. I might go back and add something at a later date, I'm not sure. So first of all, we've got this 3x8 journal piece that says it's the most wonderful time of the year, a December 2020 chipboard piece, and on the back I've got my reason why. I basically typed this out in Word and just sized the text box to be 3x8 and then printed it and stuck it to the back of the card. And then this is my official title page. It says find the joy, and when I stamped that out and created this page, I had no idea how apt that little phrase would be, but this was inspired by Ali's own title page for her album this year, but I went ahead and used bigger pieces inspired by this Merry Christmas ephemera piece that I already had in my stash, and I just made two rows of three of rectangles in this same size, and then used bits from my stash to decorate them. And then I used a stamp that I think was from Hobbycraft to stamp find the joy along the bottom. I've got a full-size piece here which was from the December Daily mini kit for 2020 that says cheers to the holidays, and I've just added a sticker here that says this season. And then this is a 2x2 page, which I kind of feel like it isn't really finished. It's part of day one, but it also is like a standalone piece on its own, but it documents some of our yearly Christmas ornaments. So every year we buy a new ornament with the year on, and I took a picture of all the ones we've got so far and made like a shaker 2x2 pocket out of them with some of the messy circles and half circles that came in the kit as well. And as you can see, these haven't been stuck together properly yet, so it's not completely finished, but it's finished enough for me to put it on the shelf and call it done. Then I have a full-size picture of our tree with a little puffy flag up top, and a picture of a lot of our decorations on the table when I was decorating, and that's my first story for the 1st of December, even though I actually decorated my tree way back at the beginning of November. So I talked about how the 1st of December is normally my decorating day, but I'd already decorated the tree in November, and sort of why I did that, and I documented all of these ornaments and talked about how that tradition started. This is a page about wrapping paper inspired by Crystal, who is on Ali Edwards' design team. In the prep party, she showed us how to make this wrapping all the way interactive page. So this does actually pull up, but I'm not going to do it because I don't want to shift everything out of place. I decided to document a picture of some of the presents I'd wrapped so far, and also some of the my favourite wrapping papers that I have in my stash, and then there's a little bit of journaling here. So it's an adaptation of her page. Hers turned out quite differently, but the pull-up element is the same. A nice simple spread for story number 3, but this was the story of my nephew turning 13. He's my second eldest nephew, and I just couldn't believe that he's already 13 and how old they're all getting, so I just talked about that. Day number 4, story number 4, was about all of my lovely Christmas pottery that I get out each year, and I'd actually got it all out on the 1st of December, but like I said, I was just doing stories rather than daily prompts, so I documented this on the 4th, but all of this actually came out on the 1st, and again I just used elements from the December daily products this year. Then we go on to story number 5, and this card said holiday rush. And then you could tick down the side whether you were ready for it, need more time, totally prepared, I need help, that sort of thing. And I just documented that there wasn't really a holiday rush for me this year because I had done all my Christmas shopping so far in advance. And I don't think there's a picture for this day. No, there isn't. So it's literally just this little bit of journaling. And then I put one of the chipboard elements inside this Avery tab, and I did that a couple of times in the album, and I really like how they turned out. Day number 6 was just about taking some cute Christmassy photos of the dogs. So I've got a full-size picture here of Archie and Winnie. I had to put it in black and white because it came out slightly blurry, but it was the best of a bad bunch. They weren't really feeling the modelling this year, but our dog Winnie isn't very well. She's got cancer and we don't know if she'll be around for much longer, so I wanted to take Christmassy photos of her this year. So I'm glad I got a few, and I just documented that there. And then this is one of the fabric half circles, or sort of messy circles, from the kit, and I used nearly all of them. I think I really loved them. So for anyone who will find pregnancy loss, miscarriage triggering, you may want to skip forward a little bit now or exit out of the video, because unfortunately on day 7 I had a miscarriage. I'd found out that I was pregnant prior to December, and we were so excited to announce the pregnancy, so we kept it secret longer than I normally would have done from my family, because my mum's birthday was on the 13th of December, and then we had Christmas 2 weeks later, and I really wanted to surprise my mum and dad on my mum's birthday, and then surprise my brothers and the rest of our closest family on Christmas. And unfortunately it didn't work out like that, and once this happened, I just didn't know whether I would be able to continue on with the album. So I did leave it for a week or so before coming back to it. And I just didn't know how to document it. And when I went into hospital, I took a picture of the waiting room that I was in, or like the ward space that I was in, because at the time I thought, well, maybe it will all work out fine, and then I'll have a picture to document the experience, and you know, I'll look back and be like, wow, that was a scary time, but it was all okay. And unfortunately it wasn't, but it did mean that I had a picture to start with, and basically I decided to just go into Word again and size a 6x8 text box and just write down in sort of brief detail what happened. I didn't want to put too much of the gory detail in. Yeah, it was incredibly difficult, and for it to happen in December was not great. But I decided I wasn't feeling very creative obviously, so I decided to just back 2 photos together and add them straight into the album. And on the back was some Christmas cupcakes that my mum gave me the next day, and I have some hidden journaling, so it's these 2 photos make a pocket, and there's some hidden journaling in there about how I was feeling the next day, and this tab here said breathe, and I just thought that was perfect, so I added that on just to show, well, it reminds me that there's something in there, but if you were just flipping through you might just think it was a tab, so it reminds me that there's journaling in there. I've got this card with just a wood veneer 8 on it, and then this is day number 9. So this whole thing is number 9. And again, I've just journaled how I was feeling in the immediate aftermath, and obviously it was an incredibly difficult time, but I journaled about how kind people were. So I had flowers arriving at the house constantly, from work, from friends, from family, and I'm not 100% happy with how this page actually turned out, like aesthetically, but I'm glad I have it. And this quote here was just perfect. In the most subtle of things, may you find real joy in living, in hallways and interactions, and all of the world's imperfections, there are still these places where the light gets in. So going through one of the worst things ever, and it really is one of the worst things ever, but the light was still getting in. The way people looked after me in those immediate days afterwards was just amazing. So yeah, I documented that. And then the next page, day 10, is sort of the same. I had a Secret Santa present arrive, which is cute, but some of my friends turned up on the doorstep with a huge bag of food and snacks and drinks for Will and I, so that we didn't have to cook if we didn't want to. We could just snack on junk food and comfort food, and I really appreciated that. And then this was a piece from the kit, which takes us to day 11, and I just backed 2 6x4 photos on the back of this one and added a tab and a little fabric piece down here to cover up a gap in the photos. Sorry, I think my neighbours are drilling something in the garden, so I'm sorry if you can hear that. But yeah, on day 11, the work on our kitchen started. So the timing couldn't have been worse, really. It was right on top of Christmas, right on top of suffering a pregnancy loss. Yeah, I've got this little page here about the kitchen work starting and things being ripped out immediately. Day 12 is just journaling about how I had a slightly better day. So I managed to do a few productive things, but there's no photo. And then for day 13, I literally just have this card with no journaling and no photo because it was such a hard day. It was just a very difficult time, and this card says, this season brings a lot of feelings, and I just felt like that was really apt. And then December 14th, we did manage to have a good day. Mum and I went to the Harry Potter studio tour. We'd had tickets for 2 years and for various reasons never been able to go, but we finally went, and I'm glad we did because they then went into tier 4, which was virtually a total lockdown, and now we are in total lockdown. So we managed to go to the Harry Potter studio tour, and I journaled about that. There is a label from my Christmas bauble that I bought there, and then I've got 8 photos from the day, and then this large photo with just some puffy stickers up the top from the Great Hall. So day 15 is actually 2 3x8 cards stuck together on the back of the 6x8 photo. It says busy, chaos, magic, and I've just journaled here about how maybe magic isn't the right word, but it's certainly busy and chaotic having a kitchen done right on top of Christmas. And then originally these 2 pages were just facing each other, but I felt like I needed something to split them up and add a bit more interest, so I cut this piece of vellum to match the page protector size, and I adhered some pom-pom trim down the edge, stuck a label on, and then on the other side I've got some more labels and stickers, and it just adds a little sort of divider between days 15 and 16. And day 16 is also about the building work, about trying to stay out of the way and just enjoy my treats from the Harry Potter studio tour while the kitchen was being ripped apart. Nearly all of these journal cards are from the Paisley Press mini kit. As you can see, I've used all different colours throughout this album, traditional Christmassy colours. The backing for these photos is actually the what's it called, the Daily Prophet tissue paper that my purchases from the Harry Potter studio tour came wrapped in. I just went for it. I don't know if it all flows or if it all goes together, but I like it anyway. This page was about receiving this amazing care package and several other gifts from friends for Christmas, but also just sort of like feel better gifts after what we had been through, and I journaled about it there. And then I remembered that on the 17th I actually went for an MRI scan and I totally forgot to mention it, so I stuck these 2 tags from the kit back to back, and I had this sticker in my stash that said "oh dear," so I stuck that there and just journaled quickly about having to go for an MRI. And then I needed something to fill in on the back, so I just wrote some notes about the kitchen coming together and how seeing it all progress is really cool. This is just a filler card. It's got an 18 on it to show that the next day was the 18th. And again, there's a couple of stories in here, so I've journaled again about the kitchen. It was just progressing so much every day. And then I journaled about going into school. I'm working from home at the moment, but I popped into school to say goodbye to the children before the Christmas holidays, and it was certainly full of cheer and chaos. As anyone who works in a school will know, the last day of term is always cheerful and chaotic. Then we're back to really subdued colours again, so it's actually mainly white on this page, white and sort of rose gold. And it was just the first official day of the Christmas holidays, so I journaled about how I was trying desperately to get into the festive spirit, because I really wasn't. So I wore my Christmas jumper and just tried to be a bit more upbeat. And then this is the 20th. So we had a driveway Christmas present drop off with one of Will's sisters and her children. This is some paper from my stash. And this is also the 20th, so some days I had loads of photos and like quite a long story that I wanted to get in. But on this day I thought it would be cool if I would use the repeating element of these fabric half circles, or whatever shape they are, and just pop one on the bottom of each photo. So I've got Under the Mistletoe, because it's Will and I, Loving This, it's my little Archie, Christmas Movies and Hot Chocolate, because that's exactly what I was doing while I was snuggled on the couch with Winnie. And then I've just got This December Story under this rainbow. And for people who have suffered any sort of pregnancy loss, you'll know that babies that come after a loss are called rainbow babies. So rainbows have taken on a whole new meaning for me, and I always snap a picture of a rainbow if I see one, but it was really important to me to put this in my album this year. Got day 21, and I've just covered this up because it's a meme that's got my actual location on it, but basically the areas immediately surrounding where we live all went into tier 4 before Christmas, which meant everyone's Christmas plans were cancelled. They couldn't see anyone, and it was basically like just our little town that was still in tier 2 for some reason. We ended up going into tier 4 on Boxing Day anyway, so I don't really see the point, but there was a meme that went around our sort of local Facebook groups about that, so I printed that and put it in here. And that fa la 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 card is sort of sarcastic, as if to say, you know, Merry Christmas everyone, Christmas is cancelled, sort of thing. A little filler card here that says this right here is happiness, because I had a whole box of chocolates to myself, and I used an Instagram filter to put 4 days until Christmas, or 4 sleeps until Christmas. I've got another vellum divider where I've just stuck some puffy stickers in the middle. Day 22 is just a little page protector that I've cut in half, so I've got 2 3x4s, and it's just a tag with some journaling about Winnie, how I'm so glad that she's still here and she was making everyone smile with her little dusty feet. She kept going into the kitchen to see what was going on. And then day 23 was about going to pick out paint for our kitchen before everything closed down. We didn't know what was going to close down after Christmas and heading into lockdown and stuff, so we went and got our paint matched so that we could paint over the Christmas holidays if we needed to. Then we head into Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and those are the last pages. I only went up until Christmas Day this year. It's what I did last year, and I felt like it worked a lot better and I didn't run out of steam. This is the earliest that I've ever finished an album. I actually had this album finished before December was even over, which is like unheard of for me. So going up to just Christmas definitely works better for me, I think. And anything else that I want to document can just go in my Project Life album. So I've got this little Christmas tree acetate. I didn't know what to do with it, but I wanted it in there, so I just punched it and popped it in. I've got 2 4x6 photos adhered back to back for Christmas Eve. So I had a little Christmas Eve Animal Crossing party with some friends, and I journaled about that in here. I've got this card here that says This Magic Moment, and there's a picture of Winnie here on Christmas Eve, and again I was just so glad that she was still here, so I journaled about that. And then we have this filler card that I've just popped 24 in. I loved this tag that said 'Twas the night before Christmas, so of course that had to go in on Christmas Eve. So we had a little Christmas Eve buffet, and then took some photos of us together as a family and journaled about it. And then we go into the 25th itself. Now I normally have more photos than this, but this year was just different. And in the light of suffering a miscarriage, it just wasn't the same, and it was never going to be the same anyway, because of COVID. And having to follow restrictions and not seeing anyone else apart from my parents and my brothers, who were all part of one household. Mainly it just felt different because we had hoped to surprise the family with the pregnancy that day, so I was very sort of subdued most of the day. And obviously Christmas is a time when lots of people announce pregnancies, and I was knocked for 6 by some pregnancy announcements that I saw on social media, and it was a very difficult Christmas, and I wanted to acknowledge that in some way without it seeming sort of depressing in the album. So this card said it's all messy in the most wonderful way possible. It wasn't exactly wonderful, but I just thought that was the right sort of sentiment. This tag, I documented our Christmas morning traditions, so just in our house, which I absolutely love. Winnie had a cup of tea, that was on her bucket list. Like I say, Winnie is terminally ill and we are working through a bucket list for her. So one of her Christmas presents was a cup of tea to herself. This 25 came in, no, it didn't come in the kit, I bought it separately from Ali Edwards, and I just made this sort of divider out of vellum and attached it as a little sort of, I don't know, just a little added extra. This was one of my Christmas presents from my parents. It's a bracelet that commemorates baby loss, and it's from a company called Mama Dear, I think, and part of the profits from this piece in particular go to miscarriage and stillbirth charities, so that was a really special gift, so I wanted to document that. And then this is our traditional family photo that we take every Christmas, and I ended the album with that. And then I've just got a few Christmas cards in a page protector here. So yeah, that is my December daily album this year. But yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm so happy that I managed to get this project done and wrapped up so early on. It's one that I normally struggle with long into the next year. But yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.